So we just got back from seeing the Black Panther, and yes, I liked it a lot. I liked it.
Definitely one of the better action-packed adventures Marvel has offered us.
It's one of the more serious ones coming from Marvel, but still had some humor. I liked it. But it's not without its faults, unfortunately. There will be a bit of a spoiler alert, because I mean, some of these things we really can't talk about it without giving away anything, so... Your major complaint was?
My major complaint is, I think in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think the biggest weakness that universe has always had is that it's never found a proper way to deal with its villains. And unfortunately, Black Panther suffers that same curse as well, because whatever good villains that the MCU does have in their movies, you know, they have the ability, you know, to steal the screen away, you know, from other major characters such as the heroes. And a perfect example of that, you know, would be Loki from the Thor films. And one of the biggest things I did like about this film is that I did like the character of Claw. I really did. And he's always well established as one of Black Panther's biggest foes. And in every scene he was in, he had all the energy. He made the scenes that much more enjoyable to be a part of.
He was fun.
But unfortunately, you know, I hate to say it, but they killed him.
They killed him off too soon. It's like, oh, you could have had so much fun with this guy, but they didn't, and that was a real shame. I mean, I guess that's my biggest complaint too, but I guess one complaint I have, I guess I could call it nitpicking, is at the end they had the big battle, the big war.
Yep.
And the rival tribe, I forget the name of it, unfortunately.
The Gorilla Tribe, you want to say?
Yeah, the Gorilla Tribe. Yeah. They come up and save the day out of the blue. But when it happened, it didn't surprise me. It's like, oh my god, they're about to be killed. And they show up and save the day. I'm like, of course they did. Of course it. And that happens a lot. I just wish it could have been done a different way. But I mean, at least this movie gave them a reason to show up and save the day, you know? So I won't really give that part away. What I do love about this movie, not just the characters now, but I guess it's, you know, again, I mentioned this movie is definitely one of the more serious ones of the Marvel universe, but I just like the messages that it's portraying here. Like, the first one is about the whole issue around paradise. You know, technically in this world, there is a paradise, everything's perfect, there's no illness, everything can be healed, technology, everything is wonderful, but what do you do with this paradise? There's the question of, should you share it? Should it be protected? Should it be kept secret? Should it be sought out? What happens when you do have all this power, the responsibilities, because you have to figure out, okay, again, like, it's up to me to share it, to keep it, to protect my people. What happens? Like, what there's a lot of people claim to have the right answer, but I don't think it's that easy as a lot of people think it is. And it does make you think, because you hear the arguments from both sides, from within the kingdom and from outside. So I really, really like that, where it's a clear as mud kind of situation. And the second thing I liked is how history was used. I mean, let's face it, humans have a rotten history, but that's the way it should be. It should be history used to teach, learn, and not repeat it. But when the main antagonists in this movie try to use it as a weapon, as a form of revenge, bitterness, and that's definitely the wrong way to use history. And I like that, because it really does make you ask questions about that, how some social progress is being halted because people are trying to use the bad, you know, trying to use history the wrong way to use history.
those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it, which is a very common and very popular saying. And even though, in a way, the main villain of the film, by the name of Killmonger, which unfortunately, for as much as some of the issues that he dealt with were kind of sympathetic, unfortunately, he's going to come across the MCU as a very forgettable villain. And I just think the movie could have done so much better. I hate to keep going back to this, but it's just like, but it's like, I really love the character of Claw, and it's just like, and he had that Loki level. Every scene he was in of him laughing, of taunting the characters, the banter, he literally stole the show in every scene he was in. But it's as my wife has said, a lot of the cast is perfectly cast in this film.
Yeah, I mean, McCloud was fun. It's not to say that the primary antagonist didn't have his place, because I mean, he certainly did. And like you said, you do sympathize with them, right? I mean, that it boils it down back to the questions that this film was asking, and it was doing it in a very mature way. Now, I really loved how the movie was presented. The setting, like the colors, the music, the culture, like I loved all of it, and it was gorgeous. One thing I was surprised about this is I was really surprised that they didn't draft in Hans Zimmer to do the score because of his experience. Like I loved his soundtrack for the Power of One. The Lion King is pretty obvious, and even Disney's Dinosaur. So he could definitely have done the music, but I mean, it was still really well done. Like you can really feel the cultural aspect of this, and I loved it.
This movie does have some of the best action set pieces in the entire MCU. The fight choreography, especially with regards to the Black Panther's female soldiers, was incredibly well done. There's a really good, strong female presence in this film. None of the females are ever perceived as weak, and in most cases, they often steal the spotlight, from the main character itself, which is always a pleasant sight to see. But as great as the action set pieces in this film were, I think one of the biggest strikes with regards to this film is that it does have a problem with pacing, and unfortunately, a lot of films can be guilty of that. But like when the action ramps up, it ramps up really well. But I can understand why there are a lot of scenes where it does need to slow down the tempo. But unfortunately, it can take the audience in it because this is a film more about its message than about the action that it tries to present.
That is true, right? That's exactly correct with the pacing, and it is forgivable, and it's something you can't really help because this film had to explain a lot of things. Because if he didn't do that, right, people are like, okay, why did this happen? Why is he doing this? What, so that is a tricky tightrope. The pacing, I agree, is slow in places, but kind of has to, because how else would you know what's going on? So that's why I'm saying that part is forgivable. So for me personally, it's a bit of a nitpick. As you mentioned, the cast, I really enjoy, the Black Panther himself. I like for obvious reasons. But my favorite character was his sister, the princess. Oh my gosh, she's such a smartass, and I loved it. She was so, every time she's on screen, I just loved her attitude. Her, she's so smart. I love her fashion sense, and everything about her. I wanted to just eat her up. She was amazing. I loved her.
Anyway, it's more importantly, I look forward to more sequels. In the Black Panther world, it's actually nice to see Wakanda brought to a live-action film. Since the Black Panther is even before his appearance in Civil War, he was always a much beloved Marvel hero, and to see this character get his own movie, it was definitely long overdue.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the more obscure heroes in Marvel, because I think most people know of him. But he never went beyond comics. I mean, like, he did show up in some Marvel animated
series, yeah.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it. So yeah, it was great. And it's kind of like with DC Universe, like Wonder Woman. I think she's even a bigger hero character than the Marvel's Black Panther, and it's only now she got her own movie. So yeah, it's about time Black Panther got some love, and it's kind of like Ant-Man, you know, another obscure one who got his own movie a while ago. So like Marvel knows what they're doing. They're taking these good heroes that weren't as big or popular, but thanks to these movies, they are becoming more popular. So which is great. So yeah, I loved it. Not without its flaws, but a lot of them are forgivable. So I definitely say check it out. It's a lot of fun. And beautiful, too.
A wonderful movie, definitely worth checking out. And Marvel, fix your villain problem.